In the thick morning fog of the Nordic seas, the giant fishing vessel Valhalla Spirit slowly leaves port, beginning its long journey out to sea. It is one of Norway's most modern fishing vessels, specializing in the mid-trawling method, a technique that European fishermen have perfected over decades, allowing them to catch hundreds of tons of fish in a single haul. On deck, Captain Lars Andersen stands in front of the command cabin, looking out at the horizon where the vast ocean beckons. He has more than 30 years of experience fishing in the harsh Barents Sea. Below him is a crew of more than 20 sailors, technicians, and machinery experts, all working closely together to steer the multi-ton mid-trawling net through the ocean floor. The ship moves to a marker on the map, where advanced sonar equipment has detected a huge school of herring and mackerel moving in the cold current. After determining the exact coordinates and speed of the fish, the netting system starts working. Two giant mechanical arms slowly lower the funnel-shaped net, more than 500 meters long, into the deep water. This is not a bottom trawl, which can be harmful to the environment, but a mid-trawl, suspended in the water layer where the fish are most concentrated. Inside the control cabin, engineers monitor live data from sensors mounted on the net: pressure, current, fish density, and depth. When the school of fish begins to move into the middle of the net, things get tense. The indicator light flashes red and then turns green, the signal that it is the ideal time to close the net. Captain Lars shouts, "Lock!" Immediately, the two sides of the net contracted, forming a giant bag filled with struggling fish. The ship began to reel in the net. The sound of metal grinding against each other echoed throughout the deck. Streams of water mixed with the strong fishy smell splashed in all directions. Each roll, the dense net floated to the surface, dragging along thousands of silver fish that reflected in the weak sunlight. Waves of fish poured onto the deck through a modern conveyor system, then were immediately sent to the automatic sorting chamber. Large fish were kept for processing into fillets, small fish for industrial feed or fish meal production. Hundreds of tons of fish were collected in just one morning. Meanwhile, the head chef cooked a pot of hot soup for the entire crew, who had been working tirelessly amidst the wind and the roar of the engines. In the giant cold storage below the hold, the fish were super frozen at -40°C in just a few minutes, ensuring that when they arrived at the dock, they would be as fresh as if they had just been pulled up. As night falls, the Valhalla Spirit continues to move to a new location, where another school of fish is being located by satellite. The cycle continues, catching, netting, sorting, freezing, in a continuous 2-week cycle at sea. Trip, the ship can bring back up to 1.500 tons of fish, enough to supply dozens of coastal processing plants in Europe. But behind that achievement is a journey that is exchanged for resilience, modern technology, and the passion of the children of the sea. They are not just fishermen, but warriors in the cold ocean. using the power of science and courage to tame the ocean and feed millions of people on land. And when dawn comes again, the Valhalla spirit is still casting nets in the vast ocean, continuing to write the story of human power over the sea. The next morning, the sea is strangely calm. The water surface was as smooth as a mirror, the early morning light shining on the deck covered in a shimmering pale yellow. From the observation deck, a young sailor named Emil shouted down, "Sonar signal! A huge school is moving from the southeast." Without delay, Captain Lars turned the control panel, ordering the entire ship to change course. The ship accelerated, heading towards the coordinates just received, where according to the heat map, the fish density was dense, possibly up to hundreds of tons in just one school. The net was lowered again. The entire crew coordinated well like a smooth machine. Two giant winches whirred, pulling along a long, heavy steel cable connected to the giant net floating in the middle of the ocean. In the control room, the screen lights displayed a vivid 3D image of the school of fish being lured into the net. Every movement was recorded in real time, allowing the technical team to calibrate the depth and speed of the net to be accurate to the meter. Below the surface, thousands of mackerel and herring swarm the surrounding waters, lured by the current from the ship's engine into the center of the net. An underwater acoustic system emits a special frequency to create sound pressure, causing the fish to move in the desired trajectory. When enough fish are gathered, the net is locked like a giant bag, gradually shrinking, herding the fish toward the center. On deck, sailors run along the rail, checking every rope joint, every safety lock, because they know this pull could be the biggest yet. The net was pulled up. The rumbling sound of the winch, the rushing water, the splashing of fish created a harmony of the sea and people. The entire hull of the ship shook slightly as the enormous mass was being lifted. When the mouth of the net touched the deck, water poured out like a waterfall, carrying dozens of tons of fish onto the deck, covering the floor in an instant. Cheers rang out from the fishermen. This was one of the biggest catches they had ever seen. "We've passed 200 tons. A technician shouted from the automatic weighing system. Not a minute was wasted. The fish were immediately sorted. The herring stream went straight into the deep freezer. The mackerel stream went through a size sorter, then passed through a head cutter, gutted, and transferred to a vacuum packaging conveyor right on the ship. The whole process is continuous and fast, with the supervision of technicians wearing white protective suits, standing to check the quality of each stage. Everything must meet EU food safety standards. Because when the ship docks, this shipment will be transferred directly to processing plants and major wholesale markets in Germany, the Netherlands and Spain. In the afternoon, when the sun begins to sink below the horizon, The whole ship falls into a rare quiet atmosphere. A hot meal of fish soup, barley bread and hot coffee is served under the awning at the stern. The fishermen sit around the wooden table, all tired but radiant. Emil, the youngest sailor in the crew, sits and recounts the first time he witnessed a huge pull that made the winch creak because of the excess load. Mr. Lars nods, looking at the newly rolled up net. The sea always rewards those who know how to listen to it.